Namaste, ladies and gentlemen. As I was speaking in my previous videos, the very aspects of Prakriti and Purusha, and in the cross reference to male and female, and what exactly is a true definition of sexual intercourse, and its importance from the Vedic and Advaitic point of view, from the spiritual point of view, as to what really happens during the course or whatever. Now let's take the subject much further. What we need to understand, I was trying to speak about the beautification and all. So, but still, let me talk about the subject in the later stages. So, right now, I just want to talk about again on the same topic much further in a much in depth, wherein I will be talking about the male and female aspects after the marriage rituals, before the marriage rituals, as to what exactly the qualities or qualities of male and the qualities of female by and large, wherein he or she develops that psyche, psychology, psychiatric and psychometric way of understanding, and creating that positive vibration in his or her mind at conscious levels, at various levels. This is what is very much important for both male and female, as they are considered Anu and Paramanu, because they also are coming out from the mother's womb, right? And this is a cycle forward. Now, to start with, how do you actually synchronize or develop those positive vibrations or positive thinking or that positive thought process, which will be helpful for an individual to really understand what is right and what is wrong. This is very much important, ladies and gentlemen. Before even understanding about the beautification aspect, from the psychology point of view, psyche point of view, psychometry point of view, psychiatry point of view, psychosis point, which one needs to understand. For this, there are two ways. One is yoga and meditation aspect. Second is listening to the classical music or watching classical dance performance. The reason for this is, you tend to have that also. I will be explain how exactly the second part works. Okay, and the reason for doing this from the psyche or the psychology or psychiatric point of view is, it actually stabilizes a well developed and the structured way or the structured thought process in the individual minds, whether it is male, whether it is female, anyone. This, if we are practicing at a stage, at an initial stage before the marriage any which ways will happen for anyone and everyone. But before that, he and she, the male and female counterpart needs to align that and program his or her mind. Ladies and gentlemen, understand this. And this is clearly defined in Natya Shastra, wherein that enactment happens. That is the beauty of Vedas and Upanishads. Whether it is Satyabhama's character, seeing the Satyabhama's character, one should not have ego. That is the moral of the story. In Mohini Bhasmasura, the male counterpart should not be trying to exploit the beauty of the female. He needs to understand the exact beauty. How do you synchronize this and how do you understand this beauty from a sensual point of view, from the sensitive point of view? And I will be touching about the chromosomes also, DNA also, that part in the later stages. So, to give you a brief information about, that's a small information. Okay, this chromosomes for females it is XX, and for males it is XY, and it is again the combination XX, XY, XXX, and XXY. It again depends on. I'm not too sure about this, but this is just information that I gathered Googling. So maybe this might be inaccurate, but for one to really look at it, just have a look at the correct information by compiling it. Okay. However, at a metaphysical level, this male and female connection happens from the yoga point of view, yoga and the samayoga. Now, one might ask, how do we need to do asanas or do we need to do anything? Not necessary. Understand this. Yoga is not about doing asanas, that Padmasana, Savasana, or whatever it is. Yoga is all about getting that connection with that, divine power. That God, Kasmai Devaya Havishavidhe, which one needs to understand, ladies and gentlemen. That God which is both in the form of form and in the form of formless as well. This is the part which one needs to understand. Now, I was speaking about yoga, right? This yoga drashta, yoga drushya, yoga maya, yoga mahamaya is one aspect which one really would be able to understand if he or she goes through the scriptures. What really is there in that scriptures that you need to understand? Let's say like Asya Shri Shuddha Shakti Mala Mahamantrasya Upastha Indriyadi Varuna Aditya Rishihi Daivi Gayatri Chandaha Satvika Katkara Bhattarika Pidasthita Srimad Kameshwaranka Nilaya Om Asya Shri. If you are seeing this, this is where actually like one needs to understand these shakaras or rakaras or these sounds get us connected. This is what is called science of sound and science of vibrations. So likewise, if we take Om Shri Mata Shri Maharagni Srimad Simhasaneshwari Chitagni Kunda Sambhuta Daiva Karya Samudhyata Udyadbhanu Sahasrabha Chaturbahu Samanvita Ragaswarupa Pashadya Krodha Karankushojvala मनोरूपेक्षु कोदंड पंच तन्मात्र सायिका निजारुण प्रभापूर मज्जत ब्रह्मांड मंडला चंपका शोक पुन्नाग सौगंधिक लसत्कच पुरुविंद मणि श्रेणी कनत कोटीर मंडिता अष्टमी चंद्र दलिक स्थल शोभिता मुखचंद्र कलंकाम मृगनाभि विशेषका. What am I doing? I am pronouncing the bijaksharas here. I am pronouncing those sounds. Here is where actually that science of sound, if you want to understand that science of sound, one needs to really understand before even understanding the very aspect of music. That plays a key role to develop that positive psychology from the psyche point of view, psychometry. Now this is more or less very much useful for a pregnant lady or that female. Here is what happens when that energy is transferred. Two energies get culminated from male and female. Think about it. Even before that, before even getting married, this is for everyone, one and all, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, I will be explaining you what are those sounds that one needs to really do. And during the conceivement or that sexual intercourse, when the energies gets transferred, okay, that is also a kind of samayoga again. Understand this. As I was telling, right, this male and female communion is all about Prakriti and Purusha's communion, spiritual communion. It happens during the serene and tranquil state. Now, how does this energy, or when these two energies culminate, that energy is transferred through the mother or female to the zygote or the Tanu and Parmanu, which would be there in the fetus, ladies and gentlemen. That is the reason why Stri, Mother, Prakriti, Lalita Devi, whatever you say, they have the highest level. That is the reason why they say Shri Mata, Shri Maharagni, Shrimat Simhasaneshwari, Chidagnikunda Sambhota Daiva Karya Samudyata, Udyadbhanu Sahasrabha Chaturbahu Samanvita, Ragaswarupa Pashadya Krodha Karankushojvala, Manorupekshu Kodanda Pancha Tanmatra Sayika. Om Bhurbhuvassuvaha Tatsa Aviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat Mapo Jyotirasom Brahma Bhurbhuvassuvarom. So, if you really look at these shlokas, if I am pronouncing this way, that is how things happen. Okay. Here is where the advent of psyche, psychology, psychometry, psychiatry starts. That's the process which starts at the conscious levels. Think about it. Though the karmic deeds would be there, I don't deny about that. It will be there at any cost. However, Here is where that the male and female counterpart, or the Prakriti or Purusha, Prakriti, both Purusha and Prakriti needs to make sure that they are practicing what you call yoga or that meditation to get that mind into control, so-called psyche, psychology, psychometry, psychiatry in place, ladies and gentlemen. This is both important for male and specifically when the conceivement happens, when you are what you call expecting a baby, okay, right from the first month, if you start, this Purusha does that meditation or whatever it is. Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivartanam पूर्वार्कमिव बंधनात् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् ओम असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा मा अमृतं गमय ओम शांति शांति शांति. What really happens when you are pronouncing this? When we pronounce this, our mind will get those positive vibrations deep within, specifically male, who will be taking the responsibility as a father. This female or Prakriti or women takes the responsibility of a mother. Her role gets multiplied 10 times now. For a baby, mother is more important than a father, ladies and gentlemen. Understand this. So, thus, one needs to understand the practical importance of yoga, exact meaning of yoga. What is yoga? If that is what you call, we need to understand the very aspect of Sama Yoga also over there. And that time and space travel which I was talking about, which is what makes it more easier for male and female once they start hearing the classical music. I am just giving you the basic understanding in that brief ways. Okay. And on the other hand, if you really see doing the chantings of Om or pronouncing the Bijaksharas, you need to pronounce those Bijaksharas which do not have that side effects or which does not have. Ladies and gentlemen, understand this. This is note and disclaimer. And that is only, there is only one Bijakshara which does not have any side effects. That is Makara Bija again. Because everything ends at Makara Bija. And that is Om. And this is very much important for a pregnant lady to do. The reason is, when a pregnant lady or a pregnant female does that, some kind of positive energy comes deep with it. And the same thing if a male who has conceived, okay, who has come into the sexual intercourse, done that sexual intercourse with the female, if he does, if that energy culminates or comes into communion with female, you know, it's a very extraordinary energy levels for the zygote or for the kid who is going to come after 9 months. In the period of 9 months during the pregnancy, if the male does or japas or whatever it is, I will tell you the effect will be really very beautiful. That is the difference, ladies and gentlemen. That is what one needs to understand. Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardanam urvarukamiv bandanat mrityor mukshiyama amrutat. If you really see, I was talking about like Matakanyasas, right? Am, im, im, aim, om, lam, vam, yam, hum, om. All these sounds are ending with makara bija, ladies and gentlemen. That is the difference. This is what one needs to really get to understand. It is not that I'm just trying to say just like that, because I have practiced these sounds and I have seen those changes, whatever that were happening from the psyche point of view and psychology point of view. Practically, I have seen this. And I have observed from the yoga point of view, yoga maya, yoga drashta, yoga mahamaya, yoga drishya. That also you will get to understand. Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. This is the beauty of our Vedas. And this you do it directly. This is directly done by a classical dancer or the classical musician. If you hear to those musics, you need to hear to that music. You may not be able to pronounce the way they are doing, but those positive things will automatically come to you. You need to hear to them. Aigiri Nandini Nandita Medini Vishwa Vinodini Nandinate Girivaravinda Shirodhini Vasini Jishnu Vilasini Jishnu Nite Bhagavati Heshiti Kantha Kutumbini Bhuri Kutumbini Bhuri Krute Girivaravinda Shirodhini Vasini Jishnu Vilasini Jishnu Nite. See, I am trying to pronounce the words. I am trying to enunciate and pronunciate. If a pregnant lady does that, what happens is these sounds vibrate deep within through the glands and nerves that are there. And that energy is passed through the gland to the baby that is growing in the mother's womb, which will be out in the 9th month. And believe me, the kind of energy or the kind of thought process he or she would come out with, it would be extraordinary. And the same thing, if a male does that during the 9 months period, I am not telling that male counterpart to take time out of his busy hours or the office hours. But in your mind, if you do, that's fine. Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking from the psyche and psychology and psychometry and psychiatry point. And this is the reason why that spiritual communion, is what makes it more sensible there. How do you understand this? When you understand the sensual beauty and that sensitive beauty deep within. Antarmukha samaradhya bahirmukha sudurlava. You need to understand this. So, if we see the reason for Makara Bija or the shlokas ending with Makara or those strong dha sound, strong ana or strong na, ana, gananam tva, ganapati gum, हवामहे कवीं कवीनां मुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पद आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती. So these swaras or whatever that I am talking, they give that impact on the male or purusha, female or that prakriti who is having a baby or that anu and parmanu in her fetus. Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. This is our beauty. This is the beauty of Vedas and Upanishads. And this is what is seen in the Natyashara, told in Natyashastra as well. When Natya Sutradhara or Natya Brahma was explaining, and as a part of note, whoever is doing or whoever is getting into that Nada Bindu Kala, or it has to start with Bindu Kala first. You need to create that Bindu. How does that Bindu form? Bindu is formed when Prakriti and Purusha comes together. Male and female come together. Couples come together. Of course, in the case of female before marriage or before, in the case of male and female before marriage, it is that a spiritual communion thinking of Mother Goddess there. Mother Goddess is the that they need to understand. For a couple, it is both male and female doing that sadhana parallelly. So, baby in the womb, okay, that baby in the womb or whatever it is, it will be too hard for that baby to take the power. Don't get with the higher note at a first level itself. Start with a lower note. Like sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa, ni, tha, ni, ta, pa, sa, re, sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa, da, pa, ma, ga, re, sa, ga, ma, sa, ga, ma. What happens is, what I am doing is, these saptaswaras, which I am talking about, sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. If I am stressing on strong dha and strong ni or strong ana, it holds a very special place, ladies. You need to understand this. This is useful for the listener to understand, because that positive vibration gets imbibed and inscribed in the body deep within, and it starts working out. And this is the reason why classical music seeing, sorry about that, seeing a classical music or hearing to a classical music or seeing a classical dance is that important to get those vibrations, positive vibrations into your body. However, I will explain the Saptaswaras, notations and all. That's a different subject altogether. Thus, we need to understand. And on an everyday basis, if one practiced Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Ma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti 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 Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Sarveti Sukhina Santu Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukha Ma Kaschit Dukha Prabhavet Gauha Shanti Antariksha Shanti Prithvi Shanti Apah Shanti Oshadhaya Shanti Vanaspataya Shanti Vishve Deva Shanti Kama Shanti Krodha Shanti Brahma Shanti Sarva Shanti Shantireva Shanti Sama Sarva Sama Shanti Revahi Yato Yat Simhasa Tatonam Abhayam Kuru. Now, what am I doing? What did I do over here? In this exercise, on a clear note, if you really see, what is happening is I am pronouncing the word, I am enunciating, I am taking those words, I am taking that sound. The science of sound or the science of vibration forces. I am doing at the age of 50. This is even useful for the one who have crossed 40 plus or who have crossed 50 plus. This is for everyone to practice at all ages. Specifically, if one does, if a female does when she is pregnant, it will be more useful. Shantihi, Oshadayah Shantihi, Vanaspatayah Shantihi, Ihi, Vanaspatayah, Yaha, Hakara, Akara, and you are enunciating, you are taking that sound input. This is again called Nada Bindu Kala. Thus, I conclude this video with a positive note. Stay blessed and have a real peaceful. May the Guru's grace be with one and all. Though I would be talking about chromosomes or whatever it is, if they were for this reason, by and large, in length in my next video. Have a nice day ahead.